Good evening, everyone. We are back continuing our Pixar retrospective, and we're up to 2012 with Brave, directed by Mark Andrews and Brenda Chapman. This is a film that I'd watched exactly one time before preparing for this. And that was a long, long time ago as well. I actually can't remember when I watched this for the first time. So this was one I was really looking forward to. I remember the setting, the Scottish Highlands and whatever. I thought that was a really cool idea for a setting for an animated film. And a lot of this I actually didn't remember, so it was basically as good as watching it for the first time for me with this one. I do want to say before we get into the review, I apologize. I'm getting over some bloody illness that I've had. I don't know if it's flu, I don't know if it's COVID, whatever it is. It's been awful, so I'm going to try and hang in there. But yeah,
when you start coughing up blood, that's when there's an issue.
That might be an issue, yeah. So far, it's just like sinuses, I guess, just like splitting headache kind of thing, like tension headache.
But if you cough up blood, you're supposed to like swallow it back, and it helps.
It's like get it back in the bloodstream, man. Just like
you lose less blood.
How about you with this one then? Was this like a first time watch for you, or had you seen this one before?
It's exactly the same. I watched it many years ago, maybe in 2012, like not long after it came out. It wasn't like a new one I watched, but I watched it. It wasn't too long after it came out, maybe 2013, whatever. Anyway, no, it was 2014. I remember where I was now. But anyway, point is, it was around then. It wasn't like it was a while ago. And yeah, I fell asleep partway through. It was just bang average, and then I watched it again this time, and again it was just bang average. It was all right. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything I'd change. I wouldn't go, oh yeah, but you need to. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's like visiting Scotland. It's all right.
No, I love Scotland. I absolutely. Actually, watching this film again, this was as good as advert as any. I was like, right, at some point this year, hopefully, I need to get myself back up to Scotland again. This did actually win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature of that year. I'm actually not sure what it was up against. If you bear with me, I will very quickly. 2012. Okay, so it was up against Tim Burton's Frankenweenie. It was up against Paranorman, The Pirates, Band of Misfits. That was the Aardman film, and Wreck-It Ralph. This beat out Wreck-It Ralph, actually. Very surprised about that. I thought Disney would have this
movie that should have been a Pixar movie. This one should have been a Disney movie.
The thing is, exactly. We were talking about this just before we went live, and when we did our Disney retrospective, we both kind of mentioned that when you've got a Disney Animated Studios film that's dealing with characters like, I know they're a bit part character, but even still, like Zangief and Sonic and things like that, and characters like actually appearing in a Disney film, it just feels really weird, and it feels something more akin to what Pixar would do. This one is very, very different to, I want to say, every single other Pixar film, certainly that we've covered, and even like kind of having a knowledge of the ones that are coming up. This feels very much like a like a lost Disney animated classic, like a Disney Animation Studios film. Get a couple of songs in there, and this is right up there alongside, like your Tangled or Frozen or something like that. It hits all of the beats, doesn't it? And I think because of that, I don't know if we're reviewing Pixar from like a different perspective compared to some of the Disney films. I don't think we are. I think we're just sort of reviewing it in terms of how it is as a film. But a lot of the previous Pixar films do feel they have their own style. They have their own, like, the way that the script's written, the way that the story plays out. They do feel very distinctly different to our bog standard, Disney animated films. This one, it's like Pixar just went, right, what makes a Disney classic work? Right, well, it's the princess who wants more. She wants to break out of the confines of her life. In this case, she doesn't want to go through the tradition of betrothal and everything like that. There's some kind of conflict with the parent, and magical whimsical kingdom and everything like that. It's all there. It hits all the beats, but it doesn't go far enough to be like a remarkable Disney Animated Studios film, and it feels weird as a Pixar film. It's not bad. I completely agree with you. I think I'm on exactly the same page with you on this one. It just feels very stock, doesn't it? It's like It hits everything that it needs to do. It was like when Disney were making it big in the 90s with all of the Disney Renaissance films, and you had loads of other studios trying to cash in on that Disney hype. You had 20th Century Fox with Don Bluth and Anastasia, again, hitting all of the beats and did it very, very well.
It's
You had Swan Princess, you had all of these Magic Sword, Quest for Camelot, you had all of these other films cropping up that were trying to hit the same formula, essentially.
Yeah. It's like a delivery driver, one that doesn't speak English. Ticks all those boxes that you expect. The immigrant that delivers parcels doesn't speak English, but he goes up to your door and delivers it. He does his job, and that's it. Doesn't do anything more. It's exactly the same as that.
Sure. Right, we've got a couple of comments to get to. Brian Emery says, "Hey, Chris and Dale, I have a question to ask. Do you think if Princess Merida was in a Kingdom Hearts game, she would have been one of the new Princesses of Heart?" This is very interesting because this is where Pixar bridges the gap now with Disney, in that Merida is recognized as one of the main Disney princesses now. So,
but she's ginger. She can't be a Princess of the Heart. It's not allowed.
Because she has no soul. She's a heartless. Yeah. She's a nobody.
See, there you go. It makes sense. But they, I played a really I don't know what it was. It was some online. I don't know, like a really bad Kingdom Hearts game that wasn't official. It was some weird online thing someone had made, and they included Brave in it as a world, and it was kind of cool. And there was a bear that you had to chase, and then halfway through the chase, it would stop and go, "Yeah, we need to complete this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That was it. Like initial level, it was really weird, but it was cool here. And I think the music would work well. I think it's cool. I think I think the music's great. I think it would be a fun world. I don't think she could. I don't think she could carry something in the same way. She's a bit different,
Princess Merida does cameo, doesn't she, in Wreck-It Ralph 2, where they've got like all the princesses there. I don't know, man. I can see why. Like, if this was a Disney Animated Studios film, sure, 100%. I think she's a really fun character. I think she's got a very striking look that, she stands out from the lineup and everything. But I don't like the idea of Pixar and Disney mingling, especially when you've got your roster, your Mount Rushmore, if you will, of Disney princesses. It's like, yeah, but she's from Pixar. She's from a different realm. She's from a different universe. I don't like the crossing over. By that extension, and God help. God, sorry.
It's a good thing they didn't do this with Princess and the Frog, because you're all forever pushing the black one aside, going, "But she's different." You're forever doing that, and it's a good thing they didn't do it with that one.
I think that'd be a great Kingdom Hearts world, actually. Princess and the
Frog. I think that'd be a great idea.
No, God, no. But I think Princess and the Frog would be a really cool Kingdom Hearts world. It's like the last vestige of a traditional animated Disney film, isn't it? And that's I think that has a bit of a cult following now. Actually, Princess and the Frog. I think it's starting to come back a little bit more. But I don't know. It'd be like if Disney said, "Well, we technically own Star Wars now, don't we? And Leia's a princess, so she's now part of the Disney princess line." It's like, nah, it's stop. Stop what you're doing. To be fair, people don't give a shit. People don't care because they see Pixar, they see Disney, and they're owned by the same company. Disney's name's above the fucking poster and the studios. Like, Disney owned Pixar. I get it. They see an animated film and, they just see Disney. They don't see the two companies. But when we were growing up, we kind of had the two separate companies. Like, Pixar looked like that and made films that looked like that, and Disney made films that looked like that.
That's true. That is true. But I always saw Pixar as Disney. Like, when I was younger, I always thought Toy Story should be in Kingdom Hearts at some point. Like, it was always the same thing. But yes, they did different animation. Pixar was the 3D. Disney was 2D. That's the way I always saw it.
Yeah. It was a simpler time. Now things are a lot more complicated.
Or Star Wars Episode 7.
Kind of speaking of that, actually, Carl, how you doing, Carl? By the way, hope you're having a good evening, mate. Carl says, Brave always feels like it could have been a DreamWorks film in the vein as How to Train Your Dragon. You were mentioning this before we went live.
It feels very similar, and it had a similar vibe in terms of, I think the drawings of the characters, I think the stocky build of like the main dad characters and all that, like that Viking-y kind of look. I think it really crosses over. And the music as well, from what I remember, is similar. I could be wrong. I don't remember music too well in How to Train Your Dragon, but I remember it's a very similar vibe. But I had a similar reaction. I've seen House Train Your Dragon about fucking countless times because I had an ex who was obsessed with it, and might be one reason I don't like it because it's like, you know, when you watch something so many times, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. That might be why. But I remember it being very just How to Train Your Dragon from the beginning was always just like, cool. Like it was just, it was okay. The second one was good, but it was okay. The first one, and that's what this one was. It's just a very that was okay. I'm never going to speak about it again because it's like, yeah, it's fine. You know, that's it.
Oh, I love How to Train Your Dragon. I like the second one too. I didn't like the third one. Was it called the Hidden Valley, Hidden Kingdom? I forgot what the third one was called. But yeah, no, I love the first two. And then, of course, we got that god-awful live-action remake that no one asked for, but apparently, you know, we're getting the second one of that as well.
I forgot it was even out. I thought it was like still coming soon.
Something worthy to note of this one as well, bringing it back to Brave, is that this was the first one to integrate a new animation system completely. Cars 2 was the last one that was sort of like running off the old system. They got an upgraded one for this one called Presto, and I won't say and it shows because we've seen some amazing looking Pixar films before this point, but my God, like the landscapes, the environments in this, I could see a difference in the animation, whether that was because it felt more like a Disney animated classic, like a Tangled or a Frozen or something like that. But it was breathtaking, some of the imagery in this, especially towards the beginning where you have the montage of Merida sort of going about her day and exploring the kingdom. And she's like scaling mountains and riding through the glen and everything. It's amazing to look at. And I'm guessing they probably did research and maybe visited Scotland because there's like the lighting on like the Scottish moors where it's like low lighting and you've got like little bits of sunlight just breaking through. It's almost like it's on the verge of raining or something like that. They captured the atmosphere, especially if you've been up that way and you've seen some of the sites up there and gone to some of the highlands. It's almost like the real thing. I think it looks incredible. And that's all the way throughout the movie as well. But certainly that first act where I think it's a really cool setting as well for an animated film. And there's not a lot of animated films like it. You've got similar vibes with How to Train Your Dragon, sort of like the Celtic. Well, I mean, that's more Nordic, isn't it? Granted. But like the music and everything, the instruments, it feels almost the same. I kind of agree with that. But beyond that, I don't see many. Yeah, I think this is a PG, this one, isn't it? I think, yeah.
Is it because you see naked men in it?
You do. And actually, there are some quite suggestive bits of humor in this, which I completely forgot, which I don't think we'd get now.
It makes it very. It feels like a Disney because that's what Disney movies always did. It was always fun for everyone. I think I'd say even more than I'd say even more than Pixar, but I think it's also because Disney was around longer, so that's probably why I'd say even more because you'd get things in Pixar, but there was less of it, so that might be why. But yeah, there was just the right kind of humor that felt very Tangled. It felt very like there was just that kind of thing. But yeah, it was like you said, we wouldn't really get it. It's so weird that we wouldn't get that now because it's not anything extreme.
We've got a comment here from Phoenix who says, I feel like Brave is not as rewatchable as other Pixar
More
films.
rewatchable than Cars. I'd rather rewatch it than Cars.
I was just about to say this was a definite upgrade from Cars 2 from the previous week.
It was, I'd rather rewatch that than Cars 2. I'd rather watch that than Cars 1. But yes, it's very, it's all right. Like, I'm never going to go back to it. If someone says they want to watch it, fine. Yeah, watch it. You'll have an interesting hour and a half. And then afterwards, you'll move on with your life. And if you did something else in an hour and a half, your life will probably progress exactly the same. It's not going to change anything. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's
and hopefully by the end of this, chat, discussion, review, whatever you want to call it, we'll sort of unpack as to why it doesn't quite hit the heights of all the other films like it. Like, compare this to Tangled. Tangled's a way better film. Just across the board is better, in my opinion. So it like hits the beats, and we say like, oh yeah, no, it does it well, but what's stopping it from, if it does everything well, then why aren't we championing this among, like the pantheon of amazing animated films from Disney
I just
or
think there's
Pixar?
a lot to it. It's kind of like, when you get a comedy movie and you go, yeah, no, that was really funny, and you go, but it was bang average. It's because I think everything needs to draw you in with characters and stuff, going, I need to appreciate this character. I need to want to know where they're going. And this had great voice acting, had great music. It hit the right things, but just at no point did I was ever like, oh, I want to see where this goes. It was just kind of like, yeah, that's fun, and it happened. You know, it's kind of like a great comedy. So you could, I could probably watch a great comedy TV series and not laugh out loud more than twice and still think it's great, because it's like I still find the plot interesting, and then I might watch that episode again a year later and laugh out loud at different bits because I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny, and I remember it's being funny, but I'm just actually kind of like, I do want to see where this goes. So it's not just about the laughs. It's like this. It's not just about hitting those beats. It doesn't leave you going, I want to see where this goes. It's like, yeah, that'll go there. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thingy's a bear. Cool. Yeah. Bear shows up at the end, like, you know, where they all like rush at the bear, and it's like, yes, yeah, it's fine. You know, it was that kind of thing. It wasn't leaving me going, oh, but this is going to happen. Oh, this is so cool. It was just like, yeah, that's fine. And then it has a bit of humor. You're like, yeah, that's funny. That's it. It doesn't lead anymore.
I'm wondering if it's because it doesn't quite go all the way into like Disney animation territory. What I mean by that is that, you know, the character of Merida, where we find her at the beginning of the story, and that she's this wayward kind of tomboyish spirit that just wants to do her own thing. She doesn't want to be married off or anything like that, or adhere to the rigid traditions of the land. She wants to do her own thing. Perfect template. You know, we've seen that however many times with Disney. You know, it's a tried and tested formula. So we've got the formula there. We've got the disagreement. Usually it's with the father, isn't it? Sometimes if you think of like Little Mermaid or something like that. This time it's with the mother. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting dynamic, but you've still got that dynamic, that disagreement, that rift, that conflict that needs to be patched together, quite literally in this case, in the form of a tapestry by the end of the film. Perfect. What you don't have in this film, really, you have some music that plays throughout, like popular bands. I think Mumford and Sons have like a song in there or something. But you don't have that moment where Merida breaks into song. She doesn't have that moment like Belle, I want much more than this provincial life. And I'm wondering, you know, had they have gone that far and had songs sung by a bunch of different people, if that would have changed it slightly. Midway through the movie, probably like the beginning of the second act, it does go really quite far into Disney territory when we get introduced to the character of the witch, which I'm saying witch loads now in different contexts. It's messing with my mind. That bit did kind of throw me, actually, because for the first part of this film, I was invested. I really liked where we were. I loved the location. I loved the family dynamic. And actually, I kind of want to say when we get into the more fantastical elements of the movie, i.e. the witch, the talking crow, the bear transformation, where it kind of almost becomes like Brother Bear again in some way, that's kind of where the movie lost me a little bit, right up until like when we have that tournament where all the other clans show up, and there's that really cool bit in slow motion, which is like the trailer shot where she lets loose the arrow to win her own hand, essentially. Right up until that point, it was great. And then when we see like this crazy mad witch doing like crazy, silly antics, I thought this almost feels like it's become a very different film now. And those are the aspects that you would expect in a Disney film. But they just came out of nowhere for me a little bit. It didn't seem to fit almost. Now, this film had two directors. Originally, it was going to be directed by Brenda Chapman, who got taken off the project, I want to say in like 2010. There was creative differences between her and John Lasseter, apparently. And then Mark Andrews was brought in. Now, Mark Andrews says that the core of the film that Brenda Chapman was creating is still within the movie. He says the skeleton of the film was there, but there was just a lot of elements that didn't work. So they beefed up Merida's role. And apparently they dropped a lot of the fantastical magic elements, because he says there were loads originally. So I'm wondering if the witch was like a carryover from that stuff, and there was going to be a lot more of that magic being pushed in the film. I don't know. This film has a second act problem for me. Like when the mom turns into a bear, and it's just that kind of laborious second act of her and her mom just kind of trudging through the wilderness. The film suddenly became a lot less interesting to me. And the bit that I found really interesting was the bit at the kingdom in the castle at the beginning with the family dynamic and that rift between the mother and daughter. That was like the meat of the story for me. And then we kind of veered off into the typical buddy road movie with the bear and Merida. And I don't know, it suddenly became a lot less interesting for me during that second act, personally. I don't know if you felt the same.
I wouldn't say it became less. I don't know. I wouldn't say less interesting. I think it was all just. Yeah, it happened. I don't know how to explain it, because I don't think it became particularly less interesting. I think it just became just like, yeah, this is fine. You know, it's yeah, it's like cutting down a tree with an axe over and over and over again. Like, just, you know what I mean? When you're just constantly doing that, it's just like you will get there, and it just kind of happens. You know what I mean? Rather than it just, that's how it kind of felt throughout the whole thing.
I think another aspect of, if we're comparing it to sort of like the great Disney things that the great Disney films that this kind of falls short of, is the lack of a compelling villain. We do have a villain in this film somewhat. We have this backstory that there was a prince who went to the witch to I think was it to wish for like the strength of like 10 men or something like that, does she say, to be like the greatest warrior ever, and he was turned into this like ferocious demon bear and has been trapped in this bear forever and has been hunted by everyone, and he slew however many men. That's kind of the villain, and it serves as like a third act opponent for us to fight. But there's not sort of like many like compelling ties to the main character or the main conflict. It's just, oh well, we've got to have a bear fight at the end. I suppose it shows the devastation that can happen if, you know, this curse isn't lifted. We see periodically throughout the movie that Merida's mother is becoming more animal-like and more bear-like and is losing her grip on humanity. So I guess there is, by seeing the villain in the film, there is that, well, this is what she could become if we don't get this fixed. But I don't know. It's just kind of like an evil bear that we have to fight.
I like Chucky, but the longer he is a doll, the more he becomes like he can stay in that body, kind of like Chucky.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Chucky.
I've got a few comments here. Phoenix says, Dale, how many tattoos do you have?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm going to count this as one. And
you got 2 tattoos.
More than my age, I believe. I'm going to say that.
I think it just hits the point where you just stop counting.
I'm going to say more than my age, but then also what do you count as one? Because like this was done before this, but then they've connected, and you're like, technically that's one. But then there's also like a Dragon Ball there and a Dragon. So I'm going to say more than my age.
Was this like Gimli? That still only counts as one. Like,
yeah, basically.
Carl says, I even forgot this was a film until I saw the thumbnail. Yeah, it's so fascinating that this won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. I do see people occasionally talking about this thing. As I say, like the look of Merida, like the bright red hair and the bow and arrow,
I think the animation flow and everything is great, like with the hair and all that. I think, because even when you look like the bear's nose, I think it's all done very, very well. But I don't really hear anyone talk about it. It's not something it's just kind of, it was kind of forgotten about.
Do we think the story's a little bit thin for the movie, perhaps?
Yeah, it's a bit there, does what it does, cool. I think that was House of Train Dragon as well, to be fair. I personally think House of Train Dragon is very thin. There's a dragon, tames it, it's actually a friendly dragon.
Cool. You could do that for any movie though. You could whittle it. Oh, what's Lord of the Rings? Oh, it's like this evil ring that we've got to chuck into a volcano. It's like you could do that with anything. You could boil it down to the simplicity of anything.
You could. I just found How to Train Your Dragon underwhelming. It was average at best. Like this, it was very similar.
It's a shame that we don't have Bath Time in the comments today, because Bath Time is great with sort of like seeing story structure and how it relates back to the monomyth and everything like that. And we've chatted multiple times on stream and even off camera as well about films that we consider great or good or compelling stories often have the same ingredients to them that harken back to the monomyth and certain character tropes or archetypes and things like that. And I've been go on, sorry.
I was going to say, when you think about it, what about Freddy Got Fingered? That's not a great story, but it's a great movie.
It's a fantastic. I love that film. I want to watch that again. Every now and then, when I'm feeling a bit down, I'll just go onto YouTube and I'll just be like, "Daddy, would you like some sausage?
You know,
Daddy, would
it's
you
like,
like
I
some?"
feel like we're very different because when I feel down, I watch Alice in Wonderland. We're very different people.
Yeah, where down is up and up is down, and
Exactly.
everything's great and wonderful. Yeah, so the archetypes of things, and I do think the ingredients are in here of a strong story, and like I really like Merida as a character in this. And I'm thinking this is still when Disney were okay. This
Yeah, I
was
think
2012 Disney. I think if Disney attempted a character like this now, she would be insufferable. And I think the reason is that yeah, she's headstrong. She wants to go off in her own direction, but she doesn't get mired in masculine traits, which a lot of films, especially Disney now, try to do with their female characters. They think in order for them to be strong and compelling, we need to sort of like bolt onto them male traits in order to get that same strength. And that really isn't where the strength lies. A lot of archetypes of, who would you say? Oh, you haven't seen Terminator. God damn it. I was going to say, who are some of like the best strong female characters that you've seen in media, in films, or that you're aware of at least? I'm just going to
best.
say Sarah Connor from Terminator, but you haven't seen them yet. So there you go. But any others that you can think of?
I want to say Princess Leia. I like Princess Leia.
Okay, Princess Leia.
It's a bit of a different way to go, but I think
No,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Princess
yeah,
Leia.
yeah, because you can have. I mean, when like you play, because one big thing I was going to say is when you play video games, I like when you have a female protagonist in a video game and you play as them. I think they just come. I think they can come across in different ways as well because you can have a serious one without looking moody more as
Mhm.
well, and you can have more. I don't know, but yeah, I think she definitely is. I don't, how would she work in another story? Like, is she someone you'd want to see more of?
Merida. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Just continuing this point because this is sort of gonna sort of why I think she's an interesting character, a good character. With layers to her. Phoenix mentioned, yeah, Ellen Ripley in Alien is a strong female character. I'd say that I'm very surprised you didn't say The Bride from your favorite film of all time, Kill
Sorry, I
Bill.
went on a tangent of video games, women in video games, but yes, that as well.
But
But no,
this might be difficult because I don't know if you've seen. Please tell me you've seen Alien and Aliens. If you haven't, that's another one we need to add onto the list. But Sarah Connor,
I have.
the
I've seen Alien, but not Aliens.
but Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley, the Bride. What traits do they all? What are they ultimately in their films? Other than like a skilled warrior, what are they fundamentally?
Women.
They are, yes, but and they are a mother, is what I'm getting at. There's the
Oh, right.
nurturing side, there's the mother side. And that's what I think. I think this film is very strong, and I think it is hitting those archetypes in that the main rift is that the two don't see eye to eye, but throughout the course of the film, Merida has to take on traits of her mother. The bit where she has to calm everyone down in court, where they're all fighting and arguing. She, instructed by her mother, takes on that commanding tone and is able to quell, with her femininity, she's able to quell the violence. She has to sort of take care of her mom in the wild and look out for her and show those motherly, nurturing qualities. And that's the strength of femininity. And that's where so many production companies now and people writing stories keep forgetting. They keep thinking, oh, well, if we want a strong Galadriel, we've got to put her in a suit of armor, give her a sword, and have her sit in a man spread pose and act really masculine. It's like that's not where it is. It's the nurturing, it's the caregiving, it's the wisdom, it's the motherhood essentially, and the roles of the mother becomes the daughter and the daughter becomes the mother. It's a similar thing in film with masculine characters. Again, not every story, but a lot of archetypes. You have the father and son dynamic, and usually there's a rift between the two. And then throughout the course of the film, there's some kind of Bath Time is better at explaining this. I'm kind of absolutely butchering this, what Bath Time usually explains, but there has to be some kind of reconciliation between the two, where there has to be an understanding or some kind of role reversal. Look at Star Wars. Star Wars is one of the best examples of this, right? Where you have Darth Vader and Luke. Luke is becoming more and more like his father. and at the end is the acceptance of this and the reconciliation. You could say the same for Lion King, the father becoming the son and the son becoming the father. It's that cyclical, is that the word? Cyclical kind of thing to everything, which makes stories work, and it goes back to stories as old as time. And this is a massive tangent, but essentially what I'm saying is that I think there is some really good stuff here. I really like the dynamic between Merida and her mother, and I think the two work really well. Fantastic voice acting as well. Emma Thompson. I was saying to you before we hit record, it's kind of like a Harry Potter reunion. We've got Emma Thompson, we've got Julie Walters, we've got Robbie Coltrane, and we've got music by Patrick Doyle. So it's like we're reuniting a little bit of the Harry Potter cast there. But even so, and yeah, good point. It's set in a castle in Scotland. I kept thinking like Billy Connolly, and I'm very surprised he wasn't cast in the Harry Potter film somewhere. I could imagine him fitting in there really well. I don't know who he would play though. That's
he was
the thing.
In Unfortunate Events, though, wasn't he? He went and did
He was,
else.
yeah. So even though it's got these sort of strong traits, it's like, well, why does it fall flat? And I don't want to say, oh, well, this film would have been better if it had like a musical, a whole set list of songs and a compelling villain. I don't know. I think the story's good for what it's telling, but I think it's just pretty thin on the ground. I think it just needed a little bit of fleshing out, maybe. Not quite sure what it is.
Yeah.
I won't go so far. It's like average, but it's like the higher end of average. It doesn't quite.
It's not. You know, it's like it's not average to the point where someone said they're going to watch it. I'm like, it's not that great. It's like, yeah, no, it's fine. But like I say, when you watch it, your life will not change. It will turn out exactly the same. Whereas if you watched it or you did something completely different, you know, it's one of the better Pixar movies to watch. Well, I won't say one of the better ones. It's not up there with, you know, some of them, but it still goes within that sort of, it's one of the good ones, I'd say. It's just not, it's at the bottom of the top.
Yeah. Did you think it was weird that the witch character never showed up again after introduction?
No, I like that. I thought that was cool. It was more mysterious.
There's an after credits scene. I don't know if you stuck around for that. I always watch to the end of the credits with the films, but there's a knock on the doors of the castle, and the crow's there along with every single carving, because she said, "I'll have it delivered," right? And it's like piled high, and he says like "delivery for you." And that's just the only scene. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was, you'd expect a character like that to come back, like the magical, mystical character that kind of sets everything in motion, like a final little heart to heart with the main character or something, just to tie everything off, part of the reconciliation at the end.
I don't think it was needed. I don't think it was needed. But I also am a believer of not everything needs to. Then it doesn't need to, you know, relate. Not everything needs a reason, and I'm very things can just happen.
I was looking at the casting of this one as well, because we talked about the voice acting of this is amazing. I mean, Billy Connolly is always a joy. It's instantly recognizable from his voice, just absolutely perfect casting for the character. Don't say that. It's just
he's 83.
He's gone through a lot, bless him, hasn't he? Yeah.
Van Dyke's 100.
So I was reading about this, and apparently Reese Witherspoon was going to be the original voice of Merida, and she was working on her Scott.
Reese Witherspoon. I get her confused with the other one. No, I don't. Reese Witherspoon's the hot one.
Who are you thinking of?
Which I know. I'm going to find a picture of her just so I can remind myself which one she is.
So Reese Witherspoon was going to be the voice of Merida, and apparently she was working on her Scottish accent. But then in 2011,
she's the hot one. Friends.
But in 2011, they announced that Merida was instead going to be voiced by the Scottish actress Kelly MacDonald. And then I think it was in like a press junket or something in 2017. Like Reese Witherspoon was asked about it, and she says, "Oh, apparently they let me go because I failed to do a Scottish accent." So,
well,
I mean, if that's what she if that's straight from the horse's mouth, then I guess, you know, that's kind of necessary.
That is kind of a big requirement, though. It is kind of well, you kind of do. It's kind of like, imagine getting rid of the dude that plays Snape because he's not white. It's valid. It's valid.
The music for this film I thought was wonderful as well. I really, really loved the score here by Patrick Doyle. Used a lot of classic instruments, traditional Celtic instruments. You got bagpipes, you got fiddles, you've got lots of instruments from around that time as well. Wonderful score that completely fits the mood, the environment,
Yeah,
the
the music
place. Yeah.
was like a high tier. It was good. It fit. It was recorded really well. Like, it all sounded really good. Everyone,
Mhm.
the instruments sounded great. It didn't feel programmed. It didn't feel, how you get some stuff that feels like it's kind of engineered at the last second, and it kind
Mhm.
of all it all felt very natural.
Mhm. Yeah, you've got like folk songs in there that are sung authentically in the Scots language, some sung in Celtic as well. Yeah, I think it's a brilliant score. I think it
Here's the
works really
thing:
well.
Celtic is pronounced Celtic, right? Is it
Mhm.
ever pronounced Celtic, or was that just me as a kid?
I've heard people pronounce it both ways. I always say Celtic because
Yeah,
that
I think
just
it's
sounds
Celtic
right.
because Celtic sounds weird, but and
Mhm.
also Celt is similar to kilt in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's different letter, but do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? To me, that makes sense in my head. It's
Mhm.
like Celtic, but I just wonder whether it was just me as a kid that said Celtic. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I don't know. Yeah.
I've heard some people say Celtic before. Yeah. Um, Um, on the topic of Scotland as well, this is an interesting thing to note that apparently 3 original tartan patterns for the film were made for 3 of the 4 clans, and they were registered
Don't
by
want to say
that it's called the Scottish Register of Tartans. So apparently, there's a register of every single like clan and things that we're aware of in Scottish history, and it's all in a book, it's all in a register. And Disney said created 3 new ones for their characters in this, the clans, and got them properly registered. Now, this caused a little bit of a stir. Some people celebrated it in Edinburgh and whatnot, but then some of the more traditional people said, "Why are we doing this? Because this is a film, this is fiction. This register should be sort of preserved for the actual history of Scotland and things that mean things." Here we go. The quote was that a member of the Scottish Parliament, Alex Johnston, criticised the registration and called it, quote, shallow and irreverent, unquote. Um,
so. It was a
and
pattern.
yeah, they created 3 original patterns. But apparently, this wasn't the first time that Disney did this. I wasn't aware of this. They also registered a tartan pattern for Clan MacDuck in 1942. I'm guessing that's like Scrooge McDuck and
Piece
everything like
style.
that, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know, just a little bit of interesting information there. So it's now an official tartan pattern, despite the fact that it only appears in
It's kind of
Pixar's
like,
Brave.
when Terry Pratchett tried to invent an eighth color, and then you realize it's just purple but lighter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny that these things can be a thing, but
Mhm.
that one didn't quite go to plan, did it?
No, no, not quite. So I
But
guess that. Oh God,
this is
sorry.
tartan patterns, like, they've been going for a long time, so this isn't interesting that they were able to. That is quite
Mhm.
cool.
So I guess this sort of we'll take it to like wrap up our review on this now because it's actually really difficult to say why this doesn't work. Like
What was
so
the
many.
last one we said this with, where it was like, it was the same thing? It was like, it's really difficult to understand why it doesn't work. It was very bang average. I can't remember what it was, but there was a movie that we spoke about that was very bang average, similar. That
Yeah,
was
I'm
like
not sure.
fine.
Oh, did you notice the Bugs Life reference in this film? I'm very surprised if you didn't because I know you love that film and I know you played the video game where this sound effect is used all the way throughout.
Wait,
You didn't
where?
notice it? Do you know when they blow the horn to signify that the grasshoppers are coming, like boom, boom, like that horn?
Are you telling me that it's
That
literally
horn sound effect is used in this film where like someone blows a horn on top of the castle. It's exactly the same one from Bugs Life.
it's a fucking horn? Like, I don't know. It was a
No, but
horn.
that sounds in the video game. Is it like when you get like a level complete or
Is it?
something, or when you collect a certain amount of things?
Was it? I remember
That's
Flick going, "Oh yeah," or whatever he said.
mhm.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know the sound. I'll try and find a clip after we finish. So yeah, it's really difficult to review this one because I think it's It's fine. It's well done. The animation is gorgeous. It's got an amazing soundtrack. The voice acting's brilliant. It's got all the hallmarks of a great Disney classic, um, an animated film in general.
I heard a
But there's
song.
just
I heard a song like this once, and I was really excited for it to come out. And I heard a preview. The band released like a 10-second preview of the chorus. I'm like, this sounds really good. It sounds like a really big chorus. And then I turned the song on when it came out, and I heard the guitar riff. I'm like, this sounds really cool. I was like, this is going to be wicked. And then you put it all together and listened. Like, got to the end of it. I went, it was fine. I was like, I don't know why. And I was like, it's weird because the riff was amazing, the chorus was amazing, and I'm like, and the guitar solo, you'd say that's really cool. And then they put it together, and I'm like, it's fine. I was like, I don't know why I didn't have a better reaction. It's a similar sort of thing.
I'm wondering if it because the film is so stock and it feels like we've seen all of these beats of this story told a million times within like Disney before it, and it's been told better. That's why we look at this one and go, oh, it's kind of in the territory, but it's not as good. I don't know, because I don't think stock is necessarily bad. Like if you sort of like boil films down to their basic means, most films tend to repeat the same story. You know, you look at Disney's Hercules, it's basically the story of Superman, isn't it? It's like a god is sent to
Remember,
Earth, raised by farmers, and you know he's
22 Jump Street, where they basically made that point of, no, this is exactly the same thing, but just doing
Mhm,
the same thing again.
mhm.
Which I was like, that's fun because at least you acknowledge it.
Yeah, and if you look at all like the Disney films, certainly from the Renaissance, they all kind of fit a formula, don't they? That's why they were so successful. They were cranking them out. James Bond for a long time had a formula and kept cranking it out. Every single Bond film, more or less, follows exactly the same beats. You're essentially watching the same film again and again and again with some, you know, like slightly different location, different villain, different gadget, or something like that. So why doesn't this film hit the pantheons? And I don't know. I was hoping to arrive at a decision. I thought we'd crack the code by
It's
the end of
just,
this, but it's just yeah,
it's fine. Yeah.
it's on like the higher end of average. I think it. I think for me it is just because it's the second act does feel quite uninspired, and I think it does lose momentum. It's not even a particularly long film.
I think,
It's 93 minutes with credits.
yeah, it's not that long at all. I think I kind of compare it to The Last of Us, the game, not the series, the weird series that we won't talk about. The game that when I played it, I went, yeah, that was it. Difference is that was so overhyped, and everyone said it's amazing that when I left it, I went, yeah. And then I kind of not resented it, but came away going, it's really not that great. But that's because everyone overhyped it. But it's one of those of like, yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm. If we're comparing this to sort of previous Pixar films that have come out, let's compare this to, let's be really unfair and compare this to something like
I
Toy
kind of want to compare
Story.
it to
Or
Incredibles in a way. It's
I feel like there's way more to latch on to with Incredibles as a film.
yeah. I mean,
From a writing
but
standpoint,
the thing is,
animation.
Incredibles, I do still think, yeah, it's okay. And it's the same with this. I just think it's quite. I could kind of compare it to that. Um, I I think Monsters Inc. has a lot more to it. I'm just thinking personally because I didn't love Monsters Inc. I'm just like, would I compare it to that? But no, there's a lot more to Monsters Inc. I think I'd compare it to Incredibles a little bit. I think it's, yeah, I think Incredibles you've got more to latch onto. Wally's definitely better. Up is better. You know, you've got all these ones that are so much better, but it's better than both Cars movies. It's I I I do think at the moment if we discard Cars because we all want to discard Cars, I think it is probably at the bottom, but not because it's shit, just because it's. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if we didn't have Cars, I think the shit period of Pixar is only just about to begin. Personally,
Mhm.
was there a shit one that I've forgotten about?
Well, Cars 2 is definitely the bottom of the
Yeah,
barrel
yeah,
at
but
the
get rid of
moment,
Cars.
isn't
It
it?
doesn't matter. Cars don't.
Um,
Fuck off.
I don't think so.
I
I
feel
think
like yeah, I feel
they're,
like
they're about to come.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like this sits at the bottom, but like I say, discard Cars. This sits at the bottom, and this is like, but we still haven't hit the bad territory. Like I wouldn't include it in the whole like, oh, they're taking a turn. It's like, no, it's fine, and then they will take a turn. That's what I see it as.
I'm trying to think of like looking at the ones that have come before. Again, not counting Cars. I'm talking Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, like the classic, the Wall-E, Up, the absolute classics of Pixar. what is it about those films?
Up,
What ingredients are in those films? What makes a great Pixar film? And
Up
then when you
is
compare
what
it
they
to
should have,
this,
what they should have done with Up is had that first 5 minutes, plastered it as the short before a really good one, and then it would have won awards for being the best short as well, and that would have been great. Up is a good idea to go out of hand.
like when we look at toys, let's compare Toy Story to this again. Really unfair. At any of the Toy Story films, what makes that more of a Pixar film than this one? I guess is what I'm saying. Like what qualities do you expect? Because I would say, like, you look at those first few Pixar films, like, you know, certainly Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Toy Story, Up, all the ones that I just mentioned, they do feel different to the Disney Animation Studios films. They do have an identity of their own. I don't know if it's like in terms of the writing. I won't even say like the emotional impact of them, because you know Disney films can, like, Lion King, for example, with Mufasa's death, or even like going back to the old days of Bambi, like it can hit those hallmarks. It can definitely go places and hit that kind of
I
emotional
think
territory.
Pixar's more closer to home, whereas Disney's more fantastical. And I get it. Pixar's fantastical. You've got moving toys. But what I mean is toys that people have toys. There's a relation there. Whereas like Disney's about magic and stuff that's like castles and that kind of shit that happens. That's another reason Wreck-It Ralph should have been Pixar, is because it's like video games that people play. Yes, they are characters in these video games that are alive and all that, but it's video games that you play, so there's a relation there. Whereas how much can you relate to Cinderella? I mean, her as a character maybe, but then it's like she lives in a castle. It's a princess story. It's magic. She the fairy. It's all. Do you know what I mean? It's all fantastical things. I think Pixar has a more grounded feel that becomes fantastical within that, like monsters in your wardrobe. We can all relate to, as a kid, monsters in the closet. We all know that kind of trope. And then it's like, okay, let's explore their world. We all have fish. We all know what fish are. And also the whole, like, for instance, the dentist thing where she had a little fish in the bag. It's all very like, that is a thing. We relate to all of those little things. There's just, I think there's a trope that's more relatable. Even superheroes, we relate to knowing what superhero are. I think Pixar has that, a relatable trope that becomes fantastical. Whereas I think Disney has a fantastical thing in a relatable way, if that makes sense.
That's really good. That's really good. I think
I'm
that might be it. I was trying to fish for it. What that's like the quote of the entire retrospective right there. I really love that. That was.
I'm gonna retire now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and we've boiled down this film, like what works about it, and tick tick tick, but I think it is just missing that little bit of a spark, just to push it over the edge a little bit and make it one of Pixar's greats.
It should have been a Disney classic. I think it coming out when did Tangled come out? 2010. I think it coming out 2 years after Tangled, being a Disney classic would have felt very similar, because it's a foresty kind of. I think if it was going to be a Disney classic, it should have been a few years apart, but it should have been a Disney classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I mentioned other weeks that I was always under the impression that this was meant to be a Disney animated classic. Like, I remember when it was announced, I remember because I was passionate about Disney back then as well, and I'd always look to the upcoming roster of films. I remember when a film, for example, called Gigantic was going to come out. Do you remember that, where it was going to be the Jack and the Beanstalk story? But I think the giant was going to be like this giant little girl character or something. I don't know. I remember seeing the poster. I think it was even shown in Zootopia. There's the moment where there's that weasel character, and he's got like a lot of pirate copy bootleg DVDs out there, and they're all sort of like play on Disney classics and whatever. And there's one for Gigantic, because that was going to be the ones that was coming out, and then that was scrapped. I thought this was going to be one of those Disney films, because I remember when it was announced, The Bow and the Bear. But apparently I was wrong. I think this was actually always announced as a Pixar film. It's just very different. It's the first Pixar film with a female protagonist. It's the first one that's like a fairy tale story. It does feel like some lines got crossed with Disney Animation Studios with this one. But yeah, in short, it's not bad. I enjoyed my time with it. It held my attention for 90 minutes. I think it was a decent length for it, but I think it's Yeah, it doesn't just it doesn't quite get to great
Doesn't push any
status.
boundaries, does it?
It's yeah, exactly. And that might be it. Like the fact that it's not really trying anything new. It does feel like I've seen this a million times. But the animation's great. It's got some fun moments in
I
there.
think
So
if it's a movie you watch as a kid, one of the first Disney movies you ever see, I can see it being people being like, "Oh, that's one of my favorites," because it's a nostalgia thing. I can see it still hitting that because a lot of people's favorite things ends up being the first one of many that they see it introduced into that world, to that, that kind of thing as well. Like, I mean, even like I always talk about obviously how great Van Halen are, but also they took me into that world. Like it was that first like, whoa, this is amazing, that brought me into that as well. So there's also a nostalgia thing. So I think if this was something you watched like as a kid, this wasn't the first, I can see people saying, "Oh, that's one of my favorites," because it can capture that nostalgia. It's a worthy putting you into that world. It's worthy of doing that. I just think it is. Yeah, there's a lot better.
yeah, I agree. Got a few comments just to finish off on. Brian says there is a theory that the witch is an older version of Boo. Well, Boo's America. I know that accents can change, but Boo to Julie
If you're a witch,
Walters.
she can do whatever. So
I think it's the magic door thing, I suppose, isn't it? It's like Monsters Inc. You can open a door and appear and disappear.
there's a theory that the witch is Sora. He goes through a door.
Phoenix says, "What was the last film Dale loved? His heart is
Oh,
made
yeah,
of stone."
last film, what was the newest movie that I loved? When did I didn't say anything bad about Michael. I didn't say anything bad about Michael. I said good things. I talked amazing things about Kill Bill. Talked amazing things about that. I said amazing things about Toy Story. I say good things about a lot of movies. I like great movies. I do like movies. I'm just very hard to impress.
I feel this was like me. Like everyone was like, "Oh, Chris, you don't like anything. Chris hates everything." I'm like, "No, I like a good bunch of stuff. But it's just that we're
You
not
said,
getting much of that."
"Do you even like Star Wars?" Because I was ripping on it. I was like, "Yeah, no, I do. I'm just ripping on this comparison to this." Because when you take the one great one, it's like, "Yeah, but this in comparison, this is why I don't like it." I'm just cynical.
I was going to say, have you, real talk, have you actually ever cried at a film before in your entire life?
Never.
That's insane to me.
And I remember when someone showed me Marley and Me because a dog dies and they wanted me to cry. And I didn't cry. And I was like, yeah, it was sad, but I didn't cry. No, never.
Not to like a video game, to a piece of music, anything?
No. Just,
You should be studied, Dale. What?
it's
Okay,
not.
what about this then? Because I get this every now and then. I got this listening to an audiobook of The Hobbit like a couple of weeks ago. Have you ever listened to something like or watched a really epic scene in a movie, or usually with a piece of music or something, or a combination of the two, and you get goosebumps and your hair stand on end? Have you never
Yeah,
had that?
that's different. That's fine. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
That I have, but I've never cried at one. I've never. I have read um like real life things that have happened to people and stuff. And I've never felt too saddened because I'm just like, ah, it's a shame. Move on. Hey, that's it.
I'm determined to find this. Yeah, I showed you Lord of the Rings, and I was watching your reaction all the time, and I was like, he's got a crack at my friends. You bow to no one. He's got to like and no, just
I get it.
stone
It's good.
faced. You enjoyed it. You're having a great time, but you were just like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
It's okay. I will never cry at
I
movies.
will find this movie. It could be T2. T2 could be the movie. You've never watched it. Maybe that's the key to
I
everything.
mean, I don't hold out hope.
We need to
Think
arrange a
about
day when we're
it.
doing that. We need to do a double feature of T1 and T2.
I think if you don't cry at Bambi, that's it. It's not going to happen.
Oh no, dude! If I see your Bambi, and I raise you a Land Before Time, because that scene with Littlefoot's mom is fucking hard to watch.
Yeah, and knowing Ducky's not here anymore,
Yeah,
shame.
that too.
But, we move.
Let's get to a few more here. Just to continue that point, Carl says, "I cry all the time at films." Me too. Me too.
What movies are you watching? What movies are you watching?
Dude, okay, this is fun. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I've had like a weird Scottish double bill with the films that I've watched this week. I went to the cinema on Tuesday night to watch Monday night. Sorry, I went to the cinema on Monday night to watch Highlander, the 40th anniversary, and then the day after I watched this, and I had like this weird Scottish film double bill. After I got out of Highlander and I was making my way to the bathroom, and you get like the music that plays in the lobby. It's all like film music and everything. It was playing the Alan Menken orchestral music at the end of Beauty and the Beast when the Beast is dying. And he says, like, at last I got to see you one last time. It was playing that music, man. And that's my favorite animated film of all time. And it's one of my favorite scores of all time. Alan Menken's an absolute genius. And just hearing the music, I was taking a piss and I was like welling up just listening. It was such a surreal moment.
I had something I was going to say about the books. Well, I don't know what it was.
I don't know. But anyway, yes, I cry all the time at stuff. It's fine.
Oh,
it
no,
shows that you're human.
I have a theory why maybe, possibly. So, like, like, so if I listen to music, if I listen to a song, and let's say there's like a guitar solo that does something, and it goes off into like another section, because I play guitar and I know what I'm listening for and I know what I would do. If it goes into a bit that I wouldn't, I can't unhear. I'm just like, yeah, but I wouldn't have done that. I'm like, why'd you do that? It's the same with like a story. Like if I read a book, I'm like, yeah, but why did you say that? I wouldn't have said that. This is how I would, and I just can't. That's probably why I just can't do it. I'm like, no, I wouldn't have done that. So you've now gone from something that could have been a perfect movie or a perfect book to like 90% because I would have done it differently.
Yeah.
I just go, that's not good enough. You ruined it. You fell out the last hurdle. Like that note at the end of the guitar solo. I'm like, no, that was the wrong note. You shouldn't have done that. Well, if you would change that, it would have been perfect. But now it's bang average song.
We've got Robin who says, I'm late to the party. How's the UK boys?
Oh.
It's a bit rough at the moment, isn't it? The good old UK. It's not its finest hour, but we're still here. The world continues to turn. Day turns into night and night into day.
You never know.
Say what? What did you say?
Well, you said we're still here. It's only 10 o'clock. We don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, well, that's, quite literally the countdown to midnight, the doomsday clock.
Hasn't it gone like closer again?
Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. And then Robin, in capital letters, says, which Hobbit audiobook, Chris? Oh, yeah, this was when I was saying that hair stood on end.
I saw a video the other day, and it had Lord of the Rings DVDs and the Hobbit DVDs, and there was a pile that said great, a pile that said bad, and a pile that said good. And someone saw the Lord of the Rings in good and the Hobbit in great, and I was like, why? What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, I've not seen the Hobbit movies, but I know that that's not going to be the case. So like, what? Why?
So, Robin, the audiobook that I was listening to, it's the one that I always listen to for the Hobbit. Blue Facts. They were all on YouTube originally, but then the copyright gods decreed that it was not so. But if you know where to look, you type it in on Google, you can find a bunch of websites where you can download it. It's incredible. Blue Facts is amazing. He matches his voices to how the actors sound in the films. He uses Howard Shore's score all the way through it. It's amazing, and it's the bit it gets me every time. God damn it! I've got so many favorite bits from that book. It's my favorite book of all time. But the bit that always gets me is where all hope seems lost in the Battle of the Five Armies, and it says they had forgotten about Thorin, and then the wall gave way, moved by levers, and there's a pause, and then Blue Facts just says, "Out leapt the king under the mountain," and then the Misty Mountains theme kicks in. Oh, wow, chef's kiss. It's amazing. It's beautiful, and it gets me G'd up for battle. It makes me wish that I was like charging into battle with Thorin.
Then you realise they made that a whole 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, exactly. And he just yells across the valley. He's like, to me, all my kinsfolk. And the elves come running down and the men come running down and they fuck up some goblins. Oh, it's the best thing ever. I love it. It's amazing. It's my favorite bit. It's one of my favorite bits of the book. Anyway, gushing about the Hobbit. It's why it's my favorite book of all time. JDC man says people were complaining that Brave won that year's best animated feature over Wreck-It Ralph, but I personally think Laika's Paranorman should have won for its complexity, dark maturity, and substance. That's a great point. Have you ever seen Paranorman, Dale? No. I think I've seen it once. I would actually like to go back through. I mean, that could be a potential retrospective in the future, going through Laika's films, because they've got some incredible ones. Comparing this to Wreck-It Ralph, in terms of animation, I don't know, because the animation is absolutely spectacular in this. I do think overall, as a film, Wreck-It Ralph is a better film.
Yeah.
So if we're ranking it in terms of quality of film,
I think
yes. Yeah. Let's see. Phoenix says, that's one of the things that I can relate to, Dale. I don't get it how people cry at movies. Exactly. Damn, there we go.
It's not, I don't get it.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's fine. It's just I can't comprehend that.
It was. I'm just saying I can't relate. I'm just like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, it was sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like,
Robin says Beauty and the Beast is my favorite too. Good taste, good choice. Carl says, if you don't cry at A Monster Calls or Me, Earl and the Dying Girl, you have no soul. I've seen both of those films. It's been a very, very long time ago, though. I think I watched those when they first came out. But yeah, I remember. I really liked A Monster Calls, actually. That was the one with oh god, what's her name? It's not Felicity. Is it Felicity Jones? Who was the one in Rogue One? Who was the one who played
Felicity Jones, isn't it?
Who's the
it looks like Ellen Page, but it's not.
I guess so. What was the Jyn Erso? She played Jyn Erso in Rogue One. What's her name? That is her. Yeah. I think that's the one I'm thinking about.
That's a shit film.
And Bath Time says, big up the lads. I liked Brave. Bath Time, I needed your help earlier. Where were you at, man? I was trying to go into the monomyth and archetypes and stuff. And I don't know if you get a chance to watch this back. Hopefully, I did you proud.
About like movies and crying at movies and shit, right? I'm also the same person that when I have a favorite character, I want them to die. I want a really cool fucking death scene, and I want to see them die. And when they don't die, I get fucking like, oh, I fucking should have killed them off every time. Every time. Not even kidding. I'm like, well, why didn't you kill him? Pisses me off. I remember in the new Final Fantasy VII remake when they went to kill Aerith, because we all know it happens. That's fine, right?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, since 1997. But you know, we all knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going. It's like, okay, let's see how they do this. But then in the new one, they do something where it looks like she's not going to die, and I was sat there going, you know what? I'm not okay with that. Why did you not do it? It didn't turn out that way. It turned out the same, but they kind of tried to throw you off. And I was like, I understand why you did that, to make you go, oh, what's going to happen? I get it. Anyway, but I was like, don't piss me off. Why are you supposed to kill her? Just fucking kill her. And I just, no, I have to have the people die. I like the character, they have to die, and have to die in a brutal way. Like, I watched the series once and had a favorite character, and she did die, but the death wasn't brutal enough. I was like, oh, that was shit. So,
I don't know if you've played any of the Uncharted games, Dale, but Bath Time says they did something similar in Uncharted 3 where they absolutely bottled killing a character and had it happen in a dream. Was that the bit with Sully? I'm trying to remember that. I have played the first 3. I can't remember if I've played the 4th one, but I played the first 3.
I remember it was in lockdown, wasn't it, when PlayStation gave them all away for free? Like, I've got them all for free. Like, they're there because I went, well, I'll get them because they're free and you never know. And I've still not played them. It's been 6 years.
Mm-hmm. I keep forgetting they did that terrible film with Tom Holland as well. Do you remember that? They did an Uncharted film.
Yeah, they do that all the time, don't they? They go to like make an Assassin's Creed film. They do a fucking
Well, that's getting a Netflix TV show now, and people are going like, "Oh my god, like Assassin's Creed is finally coming to live action." I'm like, did you forget the Michael Fassbender? I mean, I don't blame them. I forgot about it myself. The Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard movie that came out way back when. It wasn't good,
but set in Paris because why
not? Carl says, have you watched the Darth Maul TV show? Was actually really good. I haven't seen it. I've seen the scene where Maul fights Darth Vader, and I'm like, this just feels like the biggest like fan fiction moment ever.
It's like Maul shouldn't have survived. It's not a thing.
No, exactly. I'm with you there. It all just feels like a
Curious.
fan fiction. I know that George Lucas wanted to bring. Well, he was the reason that Darth Maul came back in the Clone Wars TV series. He was like, "Oh, bring Darth Maul back." So I hate that decision. I hate it so much because he was like a silent badass assassin.
Yep.
He was just like the terrifying antagonist that we've got to fight. Not much to him. Not really any character. Not within the movie itself. I know they fleshed him out through some of like the books and everything, but that was his role in the story, and he got bisected by Obi-Wan Kenobi and fell down a pit.
Yeah, and
I don't like that he
he's
came back.
Steam, which is fun.
So what they've done here is that part of George Lucas's sequel story treatments was that the main big bad was going to be Darth Maul, who had after the Empire had collapsed and the Emperor was dead, there was a power vacuum, and Darth Maul had sort of united all of the different crime syndicates and was like the Don, essentially, like the head honcho. So Darth Maul was going to be the main villain, and he had. Do you know Darth Talon? She's like the Darth Maul chick with the like the Twi'lek thing. She was going to be like the main villain until like I guess like Darth Maul was going to be the Emperor and she was going to be like the Darth Vader like character. Well, what they've done is they've taken that concept, those story treatments of what George Lucas had, but we already fucked up because Darth Maul was killed off in Rebels. So we have an end point to Darth Maul's life, a second end point to Darth Maul's life, where he's killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi before the events of A New Hope. So they've taken that story treatment and kind of shifted it back to happen during, in between Revenge of the Sith.
And then it didn't go so well.
Well, a lot of, because they bring back Maul at the end of that, don't they? That he's like this crime boss cartel leader thing. I think a lot of the stuff they're doing with the TV show is trying to link in with that, but I don't know. I'm kind of just over the Filoni slop at the moment. I haven't seen the show, so I can't comment on this, and it might actually, be really good, but I'm just sort of done. But Carl says, will we be getting a Mando movie review in a few weeks? Yes, unfortunately, I have my ticket booked. I'm just waiting on to see when JX is going to go and see that, and then that'll be me and JX on that review. My guess is he's going to love it, and I'm going to fucking hate it. But it'll be an interesting review.
I only watched the first 2 episodes and the bit with Luke Skywalker. That's it.
Yeah, it didn't get any better than that. In fact, it got way worse than that, where Jack Black and Lizzo showed up for an episode. It's a great time to be alive. Bathtime says, have you seen the Odyssey trailer with Tom Holland being American? They're all American. It's barbaric. Yeah, I watched it yesterday, and I wasn't even too sold on the first trailer, in all honesty. And then seeing the casting announcements and the look of certain things from the trailer, like the armor and everything, I thought this looks like it, especially because you're taking something as beloved as the Odyssey. I thought this isn't looking good, and the new trailer hasn't done itself any new favors. Just the dialogue as well. Now I know some people are complaining that there's no Greek actors in there, and it would have been, especially with Nolan, who's usually always trying to push it towards a sense of realism in whichever film, or like some kind of grounded quality to it. It would have been nice to see Greek actors, something a little bit more authentic, the way that they talk. But even like the way they talk in this, does he say like, oh, your daddy isn't coming home, or I'm waiting for my dad to come home? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right out of the pages of the Odyssey right there. It was such romantic language. And then doesn't oh god, what's his name? The fucking main actor in it, Matt Damon, is leading a charge in battle, and doesn't he say something like, let's get them, or let's go, or something like that? I'm like, this is so modern, this is awful, what are we doing? There's no lyricism to the script or anything. I think it's going to be awful. I genuinely think this is going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't think the trailer's done itself any favors. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing about this, but yeah. Robin says, as a Disney princess fangirl, I have to say that girls who say Merida is their favorite tend to be insufferable, bossy twats.
I mean, It's a ginger. It's fine.
Robin, what was that comment that you left earlier? You mentioned something about Merida's personality type. It really made me laugh when I read that comment earlier. If you wanna share that again. Bath Time says, was Jar Jar Binks actually going to be a Sith Lord, or is that just a fun theory?
Well, I think it was a theory, but it was actually quite a good theory. It makes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sense. Realistically, he is the reason. He is the reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's him that gives the Chancellor emotion. He's the reason. He is the one.
A really fun series of books. If you're into your Shakespeare, they're really quite funny. They've done Shakespeare Star Wars, and in The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks, when he's first introduced into the film, has this huge monologue, this huge aside to the audience, where he's actually really an intelligent creature, and he says that in order to get close to all the happenings of the world, I'm going to play the part of the fool from now on. This is my masquerade. I'm going to become this character. And it's this really well-written, Shakespearean, wonderful, fancy, flowery language. And he shows up and he's like, hello, Misa called Jar Jar Binks. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I thought that was kind of a cool aspect to the character. Bathsime says, anything old or fantasy should be British accents by Shakespearean actors. I goddamn agree. Here's the thing. I really like Mel Gibson's approach with stuff like Passion of the Christ or Apocalypto, where he really tries to use the authentic language and dialect from that time. It really gives it that sense of realism and immersion into the culture or whatever it happens to be, the time period. My one caveat with that is that if you're not going to do that, I would prefer something to use that. Like, a lot of people love the Chernobyl series that came out, and it's a great series, but one thing that I really dislike is that you've got the actors in there, they're brilliant actors and they act it really well, but they're all speaking like English or like a Cockney accent, or some are Irish in there, and they're going, oh yeah, Comrade Vladislav or something. I'm like, we couldn't get any Russian or Ukrainian actors for any of, maybe not at the time period, perhaps. I think this was before it all kicked off anyway. But you know what I mean? You couldn't get some Eastern European actors to just give it that sense of realism. And it just kind of rubbed me up the wrong way a little bit. It's a great miniseries. It's fantastic, but I don't know. It just shattered is it verisimilitude? Is that the sense of realism to it, believability? But yeah, I know some things where, like Gladiator, for example, like sometimes they'll slip into the language and then other times they'll just be speaking English all the way through. I'm like, look, commit to one. If you just have them all speak English, and I'll suspend my disbelief that actually within the film they're all speaking their native language. But if sometimes they speak the native language but then slip into English, it's weird.
Do you remember the game show Gladiators?
Yeah, that came back. That's on now, isn't it? I think.
I know it was an old game show.
Made a comeback. That was great. Here we go. So, in describing Merida, Robin said she had the face of an angel and the personality like the sound of an ironing board being unfolded. I really like that.
She has a baby face, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Bathtime says monsters should be Cockneys. I agree. You look at the orcs and the trolls and everything. Yeah.
Like Shitbag and his fucking...
Shitbag, who's the best orc? We love Shitbag.
And then the Jamaican ones. Yeah.
JDC says, considering the fact that I actually gave the live-action Moana trailer the middle finger while waiting for Hoppers to start, Disney really should have thought about re-releasing the animated 2016 Moana. It's incredible to me that we're getting a live-action remake of something that's barely 10 years old. Not to mention a sequel that came out last year, wasn't it? Was Moana 2 last year?
Yeah, well, the year before. Last year. I think it's last year.
I don't know. Time keeps moving too quick. It's freaking me out, man. But Moana is still very much, it made a shit ton of money as well, didn't it? Moana 2? Well over $1 billion, I think. It's still super popular. It's just make Moana 3, I guess, at that point. Don't be doing a live action remake.
Moana 2.
Oh, okay.
And it made 1.059 billion.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is as well, if you've seen the trailer to the new one, it looks like a joke. It looks like it's AI It looks like it's all AI. It's basically all CGI again, with some very weird, like Snapchat filtery live action actors in front of it.
And yet,
It all
Fire
so
and Ash is still
uncanny.
yet to make 1.5 billion.
Say that again.
Fire and Ash is still yet to make 1.5 billion.
Big drop off. I mean, still made a shit ton of money, but comparatively, that's a big drop off from before. Yeah. Bathsime says Mel Gibson's dad made them move to Australia because the Americans allowed mass to be given in English over Latin, and I think that's where the attitude to it comes from. Potentially, I know that he's working on The Passion of the Christ 2 at the moment, The Resurrection, which apparently is going to be a two-parter as well. So it'll be nice to see him making movies again, because I think he's one of the most underrated directors there is. If you look at his body of work, Braveheart, Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, Hacksaw Ridge, they're all incredible. And I feel like people don't talk about them as much as they should. I think they're absolutely, say what you want about Mel Gibson as a person, but if you're going to separate the art from the artist, like his art that he has created is amazing. Some of the best films out there. Verisimilitude is your own interpretation of truth. So yes, yeah. Phoenix says, how tall are you guys? Bath Time says, I'm 5'10". I'm the same height as Bath Time. Look at that. I'm also 5'10". Wait, what? Are you?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All of us 5'10" here. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I'm slightly short.
I feel like you're shorter than me a little bit, just by a hair.
I feel like I'm 5'10" and you're like 5'10 and a half.
Hey, I've gone up an extra half inch, and every inch counts. I'll take that extra half. Thank you. Carl says Moana will make a lot of money though. I don't know. I feel this might be another Snow White situation. Not to that degree.
Stitch made loads.
Yeah, I know. Stitch. The fact that when Snow White made such a loss as it did, they was like, oh, hang on. Don't make Tangled just yet. No, we're putting everything on hold. People, this whole live action thing, this might be the end now. And then Lilo and Stitch came out and made over $1 billion. It was like, okay, go on, Tangled, off you go. You can be made as well. And Moana, you too, go on. Oh God, it's depressing. Yeah. It's really depressing. Robin is 5'3". Carl is 5'10" as well. Damn, we're all 5'10". What the fuck? Oh, Phoenix is 6 foot. There you go. He's the giant among us. We look up to Phoenix.
That's what they do. They rise.
Yeah, there you go. Right, guys. I think we're probably going to round it off there. I think we're all talked out and brave. Next week, guys, strap in. We've got an amazing Pixar review for you next week. It's going to be Monsters University.
Oh,
can't wait.
I've heard good things.
It's going to get rough, guys. It's going to get rough. Bath Time says, when's the Mando review? I will tell you exactly when I'm seeing it. So I'm not seeing it opening day because work is a thing. I will be seeing it on either the Sunday or the Monday, I believe. Bear with me. I am seeing it on Monday, the 25th of May. That's at 8 o'clock in the PM. So probably expect the review maybe at like 11 PM or something like that. It's probably going to be a late one. But I'll do a review as soon as I'm fresh out of the cinema, provided that JX has got to see the movie as well at that point, because I'll probably be jumping on with JX for that. But yeah, I'm really not looking forward to it. It's projected to be the lowest opening ever for a Star Wars film, even lower than Solo, which only made like 200 and something mil, didn't it? I think, was it 400 and something mil?
Wow.
Let me have a look. For that. Solo made 393 mil apparently. So yeah. So it says.
It was directed by Ron Howard. Didn't it do Happy Days?
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller who shot like 90% of the movie. Kathleen Kennedy didn't like what she was seeing from it, so she fired them. And then she hired Ron Howard, and they basically had to reshoot the entire film all over again, which is why the budget was so high.
I think Kennedy doesn't like it. Isn't that like a kind of like step in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably really good. Well, since then they've gone on to make Project Hail Mary, which I still need to see, but I've heard nothing but positive things about that
That's
film.
good. That's good.
Bathtime says, is JX joining and you're going to argue, please? More than likely, because I can damn well guarantee I'm going to fucking hate that film, and JX will probably like it and call it above average Star Wars, and then I'll have to fight him. So, yeah. Robin says, Chris, do you read Terry Pratchett? No, many years ago I tried to read The Color of Magic, and
That's
I
why.
didn't.
That's why his fan base goes low. It's because of The Color of Magic. Everyone goes.
I couldn't make it through. You read it all, didn't you? You made it through the whole thing
because I was being a completionist, but I was there going, "This is a slug." It was, and then I found out the next one was like a direct sequel, and I went, "Oh, I'm good." So that's literally where I stopped.
Don't people say like, oh yeah, well if you're reading them in order, you've got to read like 4 or 5 books before they start getting really good. It's like that's a lot of books to read before they start getting good.
You've got to stick with it, do you? So yeah, they get good around number 4. Oh, great. I'll get to it at some point. You never know.
It's like with the Clone Wars series, which I know the broad strokes of it, and even the good stuff just doesn't really do it for me. From what people say, oh yeah, but this story arc's really good. I'm like, is it though? And people with Clone Wars are like, oh yeah, well when you get to like the end of season 3 or the beginning of season 4, it suddenly becomes really good. I'm like, that's no. Why can't it be good straight away?
I heard that about Game of Thrones.
No, Game of Thrones is brilliant straight out the gate. No, it really is.
I've watched I've watched the first 3 episodes over and over again. Just can't do it.
The thing that fucks it is when you get to like season 5 and season 6 to a lesser degree, and then season 7 and 8, like the less said about those, the better. They just completely ruined the series. Carl says, have you seen the Mando popcorn buckets? I want the AT-AT. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me because I don't think they'll be making their money on ticket sales for this one. I think it will probably be from popcorn buckets or deals that they've got with Burger King. I think that's going to be how they make their dollar on this one, if they make any at all.
Burger King.
Bathtime says, have you seen the Half-Foots have been canned in Rings of Power? Oh no, what a shame! What about that gem of a story? What about their promised land? What about their great pilgrimage, their great exodus that was going to mirror Moses, the land of milk and honey?
Yeah,
I wonder where that land could be. Where could that promised land of the Hobbits be? Why were the Harfoots in the deserts of Rhûn, just led by Mama Clump? I don't understand. And Rufio from Hook was also there. It's like the retarded Hobbit. Like what we and female Sam and Frodo. It's all bad. It's all wrong. By rights, they shouldn't even be there. I was just trying to do a Lord of the Rings 2 Towers thing there, you see. Bathsime says, I saw the footage from Mando and it looked like it was a year off from being ready. Yeah, like PS3 graphics. They just went, what has been the most mildly successful thing that we've made in the last 7 years of Star Wars? And what film can we just get out there quick? This is the first theatrical Star Wars film since Rise of Skywalker. That was released in 2019. That was 7 years ago. It's not good. And they've come out with Mandalorian and Grogu. I think they've really overestimated their fan base on this one. It's a continuation, a film of a Disney Plus series, which had a huge drop off with season 3. People just don't care anymore. I think people are over the whole Baby Yoda Grogu thing now. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much this makes overall. I think it'll have an all right opening weekend, but I think it's going to have a massive drop off. This one, it's really funny to see the really manipulative marketing they're doing for the new trailer. So, do you remember? I won't blame you if you don't remember the Marvels that came out, the sequel to Captain Marvel, which itself was a terrible film. When they were panicking and everyone was like slating the trailer, the final trailer they made was the most manipulative trailer I've ever seen. It played like the sad Avengers music. It used clips from Endgame and Infinity War, Thanos, Tony Stark. It built it up as this huge. This is an important continuation, guys. This is going to tie back in with Endgame. This is really important. And none of that footage was in the film. It was member berries. It was, hey, you remember this bit from that, like the really awesome ending or whatever. They've done the same with the latest trailer for Mando and Grogu. They open and it's like a clip show of all of the iconic moments from the original trilogy and some of the stuff from the prequels. And it's like Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and Han. I'm like, they're not in this movie. They've got nothing to do with this movie. It's trying to get those original trilogy fans back in because they've got nothing. They've got nothing to show for it. Nothing about the trailers have showed us any glimpse, any idea of what the story is about. It's just Baby Yoda does cute shit, and Mando, what's his name, Pedro Pascal, just says lines in the most monotone, and he couldn't sound less interested in this now at this point.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a fun 2 episodes.
Let's see. Robin says Color of Magic sucks, but May 25th is a reference in the book Night Watch. I highly recommend Mort.
Yeah, I was very intrigued with Mort because he is like the apprentice of death, and that sounds cool, but it's like book 4, and I've just kind of gone, oh, maybe. I know you don't have to read them in order, but because Color of Magic was there, it's just been a whole like, yeah, one day. So it's just,
Have we seen the theories here? Carl says they need to make Grogu talk. Grogu is about 55 years old at this point, and he's still a baby. Goo Goo Gaga can't talk, but he's of Yoda's species, and Yoda in Return of the Jedi says, when 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not. So Yoda's like 900 in Return of the Jedi, and he says in Empire Strikes Back, he says, for 800 years, I had my own, I trained my own Jedi, my own council will I keep on who is to be trained. So for 800 years, he's been training Jedi. So at the age of 100, he needed to be a fully functioning adult. Baby Yoda is 55 and still a toddler. Like, he needs to go through a fucking growth spurt very, very, very quickly. I don't, yeah, but I've seen theories that. Are you aware of the whole world between worlds thing in Dave Filoni's Star Wars in the animated stuff and whatnot?
No.
So there's this magical realm that it's like Kingdom Hearts that connects all the realms together. It's like the Yggdrasil, the tree of whatever it's called in Norse mythology. Like all the branches connect to everywhere. And it allows you to essentially time travel and enter any doorway, any moment in history. You could just walk up to it, walk through it. It's bringing time travel into Star Wars, which I hate. Although Dave Filoni keeps saying it's not time travel, it's not time travel. I'm like, it fucking is. There's a rumor I've seen where someone is going to take, I don't know if it's Luke Skywalker, I don't know if it's Mando, is going to take Grogu through a doorway, and he is actually going to be Yoda. He's going to be placed back in time and age up, and he's going to be Yoda.
Thing.
Because they were going to do a Yoda... Well, they were going to do so many spin-off movies. The amount of movies that were planned at Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy either quietly crushed or outright cancelled, or outright just... we haven't heard anything from them in their development. I think it's like 15 movies plus that have been announced and cancelled, which is hilarious. But one of the ones that was kicked around, there was going to be a Boba Fett movie, which essentially became The Mandalorian as a TV show. And then also they eventually did Book of Boba Fett. But there was going to be a Yoda movie. There's going to be a Yoda origin movie. And I'm wondering if they just took the two concepts of Yoda origin movie and Boba Fett.
It's supposed to be mysterious. You don't know where it's from.
Exactly.
What's betting in this movie will get like Yoda planet, a load of little Yodas running around.
Oh God, yeah, it's gonna.
Have you seen Yoda's master was like this really tall fucking, or maybe just I can't remember. Maybe he just looked tall next to Yoda. I can't remember.
I just saw this comment here. Time says, "Imagine if there's time travel in the Mando, and it turns out Baby Yoda is Yoda." And he's like, "Oh, I was being ridiculous. That's actual possibility." Yeah, it's the world we live in with Star Wars at the moment. It's a great time to be alive. But anyway, we'll round it off there. I think I need to get some practice tonight. Actually, I've not been well this week, guys. I've been like fighting, I don't know, the flu, COVID, something. I don't know what I've been fighting, but yeah. Anyway, to bring it back round, it's always funny when we go on a massive tangent. But let us know your thoughts on Brave.
I thought it said Dave.
Dave. Hello, Dave. Let us know your thoughts on Brave. How would you rank it in terms of all the other Pixar films? I do want to say as well that I'm aware that I haven't done another update on my Hobbit edit stuff. I have been up against it this week with work stuff. I have had zero free time. I actually didn't think I was going to get a chance to watch Brave yesterday. So, but I do have time off next week. And in a couple of weeks, it's half term. And I'm going to really, really make diligent effort on the Hobbit edit. I want to try and get as much of it done as possible. So bear with me. I'll say it's being worked on. It hasn't been worked on in the last 2 weeks, but I will be getting back to it because I want to get that project done, finished, and move on to greener pastures. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined the chat as always. We love doing this. We love chatting with you guys. It's a really good chance for us to connect with you all. So appreciate all of you taking time out of your evening to join us tonight. And yeah, we'll be back with more Pixar next week, talking about Monsters University. And if anything else crops up, we've got some big films coming out this summer. I don't know whether they'll all be good, but in a few weeks, we've got Mandalorian, as we mentioned. In a few weeks' time, we've got Scary Movie 6. We've got Supergirl. We've got, Toy Story 5.
I'm only excited for one of them.
Yeah, me too. Isn't that a fun thing where, like, Scary Movie 6 could potentially be the best film of the year?
That's fine. That's fine.
I hope it sticks the landing. Right, we're going to bid you all a very good night, and we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care, everyone.